Pivot tables enable you to summarize and reorganize your data dynamically, but you can't summarize just any data set using a pivot table. In most cases, your data needs to be laid out as a data list and preferably as an Excel table. In this movie, I will demonstrate how to format your data so that you can create an Excel table. My sample file is format 0102, and you can find it in the Chapter 1 folder of the exercise files collection. This workbook contains a single worksheet, Ordered Details, and on it I have details about a series of orders over the course of 2 years. You can see that there are a number of columns. I have the order number, the customer's full name, state of residence, date of purchase, category of the product, the stock keeping unit or SKU, the product name, quantity ordered, unit price, and total price. I have 274 records, and if I press Control End to go down to the bottom of the list, you can see that we're in row 275, and if I scroll over to the left, it's order number 274. There are a couple of things to note about this data set. The first is that I have columns and column headers. So each column contains consistent data, whether it's the state, the customer's name, the date, and so on. Also note that there are no blank rows anywhere in the data set. I skipped to the bottom, so I'll ask you to believe me about that. And also there should be no extra data in any cells around your data list. So if I use the scroll wheel to move down here, you see that I don't have any data below row 275. And if I scroll to the right, you can see that I don't have any data in column K, which is directly to the right of the data list. I'll press Control Home to go all the way back up to the top, and here I am. And once again, you can see my column headers, which will be used later when we create the pivot table. I could create a pivot table using this data list, but there's one important limitation. When I create this pivot table, Excel says, okay, I'm looking for cells A1 to J275. And in that case, if I were to add a row or add a column, Excel would have no way of knowing unless I changed the data definition. However, if I create an Excel table, then any extra rows, any changes in data, and any extra columns are updated whenever the pivot table refreshes. So let's create an Excel table from this data. I'll start by clicking any cell within the data list, and then on the Home tab of the ribbon, in the Styles group, I'll click the Format as Table button, and I'll select a style. In this case, I'll just go for the first one. Top left corner, Table Style Light 1. The Format as Table dialog box appears, and it asks for where the data is for my table, and it's A1 through J275. And also it says my table has headers, which is correct. That's in row 1. I can go ahead and click OK, and I have my Excel table. There are a lot of things that you can do with an Excel table that you can't do with a normal data list, at least not as easily. And one that I'll point out is to add a total row. With the pivot table still selected, I'll go to the Design Contextual tab of the ribbon and check the total row box. And what that does, as you can see, is it adds a total row at the bottom of the Excel table. And if I scroll to the right, you'll be able to see what that means. In this case, I have total price, which is the price of all my orders, and I have the sum of all those orders. The data isn't formatted. It isn't currency or accounting format, but I can see the number right there is $5,428,235.46. So as you can see, Excel tables are extremely useful, even if you don't use them to create a pivot table. But this course is about pivot tables, so let's see how you use them.